Welcome to Satsang. So beautiful to be together with all of you, especially at this beautiful time of Navaratri, this day dedicated to Mahakali. And a very special welcome also to many of you in our Navaratri retreat that I think has just started today. So welcome to everyone in that. And we will begin as always with a question that's come in advance, and then open it up to any questions that anyone here has. We always start with one of the questions that comes from our online internet-based family, because they can't be with us physically here on the banks of Ganga. So we figure, well, at least we'll start with a question from them, and then any questions here. So there's a microphone right there, and feel free to just come and share your name, share where you're from, and share your question. But we'll start with one of those that's come in advance. It seems so obvious that one should follow dharma and be kind to each other and to nature. Why don't more people do this? This is asked by Dayanidhi. In the world of psychology, there's a saying that hindsight means looking back on something is always 20/20. It means when we, from a position of being forward, look back on something, we can see it very clearly. You look back on mistakes you've made in your life, times of your life where you've taken a wrong turn. It's so easy to look back and say, oh my God, how silly I was, how clear it was that I should have done this other path. And as we look back, it seems really clear and really obvious because it's hindsight. But in the midst of that moment, it's not so clear. Because in the midst of that moment, we've got ego, we've got ignorance, we've got so many pulls of desires and temptations and aversions, and God knows who else in that moment is trying to pull us in some other direction. And the same thing is true around aspects of dharma. From our perspective, looking at other people, it seems so obvious. Why aren't they just nice? Why aren't they living according to dharma? Why aren't they living with love and kindness and peace toward other people and the planet? Like, it seems so clear and obvious to us. But in the midst of their lives, they are being pulled by very strong forces of ego, of illusion, of desire, of fear, of other people's projections. There's so much going on. You take one simple example. Take an example of cheating, for example, in the office place or in school. You know, a really simple, like, not dharmic business techniques, embezzlement, or cheating in some other way in the office or the company, or cheating in school. Now, it's so obvious for us to look and to say, that is wrong. That is so obviously wrong. Why are people doing wrong things? Why are people cheating? But imagine for a moment that you lived in a family in which you received love, acceptance, embrace, literal and figurative, by your parents only when you succeeded. Imagine that when you didn't succeed, maybe you got beaten, maybe you just got yelled at, maybe you were the first person in your entire family to actually go beyond 8th grade or 10th grade or to go to college. And everybody in your family is counting on you, depending on you. All of the money that they've saved, they're using it to send you off. Now imagine you're in a class and you just don't get it. And it seems so hard. Kuch samajh nahi aata hai. And now you have an exam and you need the class to graduate. You have an exam. Your palms are sweating, you're sweaty. You don't understand the questions. Kid next to you is the smart one. You know that. You've seen that every day in class. He or she knows all the answers. Now, I'm not saying it's right to lean over and cheat, but suddenly somebody in that situation cheating starts to begin to make a little bit more sense to us. It's not that they're a bad person. It's not that they're a cheater, not a dharmic person, a horrible person. But suddenly you understand, oh my God, like all of these pulls of the family, the responsibility of all of these voices, God only knows what the poor kid is hearing at home from parents, from grandparents, from aunts and uncles. And that's just one tiny example. Similarly, you think about somebody, embezzling money in the office. Well, maybe he or she is really a very honest person at heart. And every time they go home, they've got a husband or a wife or kids or parents or in-laws who are like, you don't make enough money. If you were a good person, you'd bring home more money. It's your fault that we don't have money for this or that. And they're constantly harping on this person's head, constantly making them feel less than awful. Suddenly this situation presents itself where they think that they could get away with stealing some money. They think nobody will know. Again, it's not right by any means. But can you start to begin to at least put yourself in the shoes of someone who might consider doing that without being a wrong person or a bad person? And I mention these very simplistic stories because whenever we see someone acting out of dharma in an unkind way, it's always really important to assume that it's not that they were just cut from some awful mold of the divine, and that they're choosing to be awful and wrong and insensitive and harmful, but that they've got some other things going on. Internal things, external things, egos, desires, fears, confusion, insecurities, and probably some external things. External things from the past that have created patterns in their emotional mind, patterns in their behavior, but also external things in the present moment, pulls upon them. So it's really important, they say when you live in glass houses, don't throw stones. So it's really easy to finger point and say, why are these people not living according to dharma? Why are they not being kind? And the second part, of course, that's usually unsaid, but it's there, is always, I would never do something like that. Like if I were in that position, I would act according to dharma. I would be kind. And the truth is, you never really know what you would do until you've been in that situation. And so rather than wondering about other people, it's always so much more useful to introspect about yourself. As far as other people go, have compassion. whatever it is that's leading them to do wrong things, you can be sure it's hurting them inside a lot more and significantly before it causes them to hurt people outside. So instead of focusing on that, focus on yourself. How am I, in every minute, every moment, every thought, every word, not living up to as much dharma as I'd like? And sometimes you have to introspect deeply. Because for some of us, we think, well, but I am. Like, I'm a good person. I don't lie. I don't cheat. I don't, betray people. But go deeper. Go deeper. Where are you gossipy? Where are you critical? Where are you judgmental? Where are you buying things or wearing things or living in certain ways that are harmful to the planet? And don't feel badly about it, but just use them as ways to grow, ways to improve. I mean, do you have a water bottle with you everywhere you go? Or do you sometimes forget it? Right? Do you have your own cloth bag with you every single time you go shopping? Or every once in a while do you forget it? Do you always remember to turn off the lights and the faucet and the this, or do you ever forget? And again, not something to feel badly about, just to notice, oh yeah. And you just become more conscious, more conscious, more conscious. How much of the fruit that you're buying in the marketplace here has been imported from Thailand or some other country? How many miles has it come to get to you? How many fossil fuels have been burned so you can have some tropical fruit that doesn't grow where you live? And again, it doesn't make you a bad person. It just gives you things to think about. How can we live in a more sustainable way? A couple years ago, one of my favorite stories, a couple years ago, I was coming back to the ashram from the airport or somewhere, I forget. We were driving back and there was a fruit stand on the side of the road, and I asked the driver to stop. I wanted to pick up some fresh fruit. And I'm always very baka, very conscientious about like local. And so we stop and we ask the guy at the fruit stand who's got all of these apples, like, where are your apples from? And he says, oh, Videsh se. They're from abroad. And you can see they've got the Red Delicious Washington apple sticker on every single apple. And so I say to him, oh, I don't want those. I don't want the Videshi version. I want the local version. Like, where are the apples from, Shimla? Where are the apples from Badrinath? We've got apples growing in these mountains right here. Where are those? And he shows me the same apples. And we were like, well, but you just said these stickers. And he pulls out from underneath where the fruit are, he pulls out this sheet of stickers that say red delicious, and he says कि हम ऐसे लगाते हैं क्योंकि अधिकतर लोग विदेश वाले चाहते हैं वो और पैसा मिलते हैं उससे. Like we get more money from these because most people want the ones that come from abroad. So the driver and I had a really good laugh about that. We still laugh about it today. But I mention it because how do our preferences, little things, which apples we buy, how does it create an impact on the planet? And these are examples, not to make anyone feel bad, but just to remind all of us, there's always so much more that we can do. Like, do you know what's in your shampoo? Your underwear, your bras, your banyans, like the cotton that they're made of. Which cotton is it? Is it organic cotton? Or is it cotton being produced on, a farm somewhere with pesticides and fertilizers, and the farmers are getting, cancer and their kids have got birth defects and the groundwater is being polluted from all of the pesticides in the farm. Like, how many of us think like that when we go out to buy a pair of underwear or a bra or a banyan? And it's beautiful because it allows every minute and every moment to be something that we can use to grow spiritually, to grow dharmically, to grow in consciousness. Like, who would have thought that underwear shopping could be a spiritual practice? Who would have thought that buying toothpaste or shampoo could be part of your spiritual practice? But it can. So all of the time and energy that you spend wondering about why other people aren't living according to dharma, why are they dropping plastic bags, why are they polluting? Do whatever you can to help them if you can. If you've got a voice, if you've got influence, if you've got impact, use it. But otherwise, use all of that time and energy to say, what is there in my life that maybe I could change? Where could I buy organic cotton or hemp or bamboo instead of synthetics or instead of the non-organic cotton? How can I buy fair trade? Like, is all the coffee we drink fair trade? Is the chocolate we eat fair trade? And again, it's just so many opportunities and ways to bring dharma into every minute that we live. So don't worry about other people. Fortunately, we are not in charge of anyone else's karmic package, just our own. Yeah, great question. Any other questions that anyone here has? Yes, of course. Come to the mic. Him and then you in front. Yeah. Him and then you. Yes. Yes.
What is the method to know who
Can
am
you
I?
just share your name and share where you're from and then?
Yeah, I'm Bharat from Dehradun. So I want to know how to know who am I.
Great. How do we know? Who am I? Meditation. You can read books. You can read scriptures. You can chant the mantras. Aham Brahmasmi. I mean, there's your answer. You want to know who you are? Tattvam Asi. But sadly, me telling you that doesn't actually do you that much good. It's like if you're really hungry and I say, oh, I had the most wonderful saag for dinner tonight. I can tell you all about it, but it's not going to fill your tummy. For your tummy to be filled, you actually have to get the food and eat it. So we can tell you, we can tell ourselves who we are. Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvam Asi, Soham. But just reciting it isn't nearly enough. The only way to actually know it is to peel back the layers of ignorance and allow yourself to see the truth. It's why we meditate. It's why we do japa. It's why we bring our mind into the conscious present moment. If my mind is off in the roles that I play and the stories that I tell and my desires and my aversions, well, then I'm stuck in my identification as a role. But if I can stop, if I can come to present moment, if I can bring my awareness deep into my Swadhisthana chakra, if I can work with carrying that energy as we did last night in the meditation, up to my Agya chakra, to my third eye, I will start to have an actual experience of who I am. So read the books, absolutely. They will point to you. They will re-remind you. Come to satsang, listen to lectures, do all of that. But you have to also do the practices. that bring the experience into you. And when you sit to meditate, ask yourself that question. Who am I? Who am I? Ko-hum, 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 so-hum, so-hum. Who am I? I am that. Literally, just meditate upon that. Yeah. Beautiful. Yes.
I'm very nervous. My name is Mar, and I came from Mexico.
Wonderful.
And I want to ask, this is coming to my mind very strongly, how can God permit so much misery, poverty, and little girls to be raped? How come? It's like, what is happening?
Yeah. So, when I was, did everyone hear the question, by the way, before I start? It was a powerful question. She said, how does God allow this misery in the world? How does God allow women to be raped, kids to starve, all of this which is happening? How does God allow this? So when I was in the middle of my PhD program, long before I was a religious person, long before I believed in God on any deep level, I was getting a PhD in psychology, and one of my professors, she worked with children with AIDS. This was 30 years ago when, the AIDS epidemic was huge and rampant. She worked with children who had AIDS when she wasn't teaching. And her husband was a chaplain. They were very religious. And one day in class, somebody asked her, they said, explain this to us. We were a group of students, 19, 20, 21. And someone said to her, this doesn't make any sense. You people are religious, your husband is a chaplain, you're really religious. But you spend all day long when you're not teaching us, you're working with kids who are dying painful deaths due to no fault of their own. How do you reconcile this? How do you still believe, or do you still believe, that there's a divine plan? Really? And her answer has stuck with me all of these 30 years. She said something very beautiful. She said, I never doubt that there is a plan. I never doubt that it's a divine plan. She said, but sometimes I do find myself asking God whether maybe there couldn't be a better plan. And I loved that answer, first as a non-religious academic, but even now as a deeply religious person. Because, I can give you an answer, and I will. But honestly, the answer satisfies my mind more than my heart. The answer that satisfies my heart most, even to this day, is the answer that she gave. Yes, I know there is a divine plan. And yes, there is definitely a part of me that still asks God, are you sure? Are you really sure? But here's the real true answer. When God created this world, in the Dharmic tradition, the Sanatan Dharma Hindu tradition, we believe that God plays basically 3 roles: creation, sustenance, destruction. And it's a cycle, but that these are the aspects of the divine. And we speak about Brahma as the creator, and Vishnu as the sustainer, and Shiva as the destroyer. And they're energies of that. But when the creation took place, An aspect of creation was that which was created, meaning us, in addition to being given all of the other things that we were given, we were also given free will. And that free will has proven to be the cause of an extraordinary amount of harm and violence. But it's really important to realize it's not God doing it. Part of the kind of rules of the game, because we do see this as a divine drama. The word that is used a lot in Sanskrit for this whole creation business is lila, the play, the divine drama. And as this drama was put into play, one of the core pieces was free will. Now, people suffer consequences of it. That's what the law of karma is there for. So if in my free will, I bring harm to another, you can be sure that at some point, that harm is going to come back to me. We believe very deeply in the law of karma. If you plant an apple seed, you are going to have an apple tree grow in your life. But you have the free will to plant that seed. And the way that we see it is that ultimately the highest goal, the reason that we have taken birth, the reason that this entire creation was created, that the Leela is happening, is for all of us to wake up and remember that we are one with the divine. That is actually the core goal of it all. The core goal is not world peace. The core goal is not world happiness. The core goal is not equality. The core goal is not any of these virtues or beautiful things that we want there to be in the world. The core is that we wake up and we realize the very truth of who we are. And sometimes there's a lot of darkness and there's a lot of ego and there's a lot of ignorance, because part of this drama is the forgetfulness, what we call Maya or illusion. We forget that we are divine. We forget that the reason we're here is to wake up. We identify as this body. We have greed, we have lust, we have competition. We think that others are separate from us, because if I objectify myself, I objectify others. And in the othering, we allow ourselves to harm others or to allow others to be harmed because, hey, they are not us. This is all ignorance, it's all illusion. And if that's what's running me, I have free will to act on it. I'm going to suffer the consequences for sure, but I do have free will to act. Now, I will say to you that I have wondered many times whether God does not regret making free will part of the package deal. I do think sometimes that I wonder whether God is thinking, oh my God, galti ho gaya, like this was a mistake. I should not have given these people free will. I don't know. I feel like if I were God, I would regret giving people free will. But it's there. Now, the other piece of this is, in addition to all of that, we are also told that whenever darkness is winning out over light, that whenever lack of dharma, adharma, is winning out over dharma, that God will incarnate. Bhagavan Krishna tells us this in the Bhagavad Gita. I will incarnate in those moments, in form on earth, to bring light back to the darkness, to bring dharma back to the adharma. And we are also told in so many different ways that every one of us is divine. That God lives not just outside of us somewhere, but in us, as us. And to me, when I take those two teachings together, what it means is that the divine has incarnated on earth in the form of all of us in order to bring back light to the darkness. So instead of just wondering why God is permitting it, assume that the divine is here manifest through you as you to do something about it. And ask yourself, what is my role? How can I be an instrument of that divine process, of that divine flow, of restoring light? And that becomes every one of our responsibilities. Yes. Beautiful. No problem. We'll take this last.
First, Hare Krishna, and I bow to Mataji's feet. My question also and answer also, like why it's so difficult to understand that in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Shri Krishna said, means very easy to understand, God is everywhere. So, please some light on Bhagavad Gita to everyone. Mataji.
Nobody ever said life was going to be easy. There's no scripture I am aware of in any language or any religion that says, wake up, come to me, come to God, realize the truth of yourself, and hey, it's going to be a piece of cake. Super easy. Simple, yes. Easy, no. And that's because we have this that I was talking about, the ignorance, the ego, the maya, the illusion, all of that. And of course, different religions and different scriptures speak about it in different ways, but all of them agree that the reason that we don't see the divine in everything, that we don't see it in ourselves, is the illusion, is the ignorance. And that all of the actions that we do, rooted in that ignorance, are things that take us farther away from the divine. But just because it is not easy doesn't mean it's not worth doing. So instead of asking why questions about like, why did God do this? Or why is this so hard? Okay, it's hard. It's hard to see God everywhere. If it weren't hard, we wouldn't need entire scriptures helping us do it. We wouldn't need, meditation retreats and spiritual retreats and yoga retreats, and we wouldn't need to meditate. It's hard because we live in a world of illusion. We live in ignorance. It's part of the package deal. It's like, why is it hard to understand calculus? Well, our brain doesn't, we're not born on earth understanding it. You have to learn. First you learn arithmetic, you learn addition, you learn subtraction, you learn multiplication, then you learn geometry, and then you learn trigonometry, and then you learn algebra, and slowly, year by year, eventually you get to calculus. In the same way, on a spiritual level, slowly, we peel back layers. So we begin thinking, I'm just this body. Oh, it's a great day. The pimple on my nose went away. It's a great day. I love these new clothes I'm wearing. I look great. The guy I like at the office, he smiled at me. I think he's going to ask me out this weekend. Fantastic day. Right? Totally superficial level, material level existence. We begin there. That's where most of us start our journey. Or, oh, what an awful day. Nobody noticed my new clothes. Got stuck in traffic on the way home. Little things. We're stuck. We're over-identified. And then slowly, as we practice, we peel back layers. We're going from 2 + 2 = 4 to calculus. Slowly, I am not this body. Slowly, we anchor in awareness. Slowly, we start to feel the power of the energy in our chakras. We start to connect with prana. We start to recognize that we actually have a conscious choice over the voice in our head. What it's saying, when we can quiet it, when it's useful, when it's not. Slowly, we peel back the layers. And then not only do we get there with ourselves, but we get there where, we look outside and we see a leaf and we see the divine. We see a tree, we see the divine. We see an animal, we see the divine. Keep going. Don't wonder about why it's hard. Just keep going. Because the beautiful thing is, it's not all or nothing. Every step along the way is a powerful opening, a powerful transformation. And the universe is fully patient. You don't get all the way there this lifetime, no problem. You'll get another beautiful body. You'll come back and finish the journey next lifetime. Yet another reason to protect Mother Earth, so we all can come back and finish our karmic paths and clear those karmic bank accounts. Yeah, wonderful. Have a beautiful rest of your evening. A beautiful morning and day to our families joining us from all over the world online. And so much love to you all.